second highest paid receiver in the NFL by average annual value. In a recent article in The Athletic, multiple NFL executives suggested that Dallas overpaid. Excuse me. One executive said it comes back down to how many guys are really difference makers. That is who you pay the top of the market to. I'm sorry. Amari Cooper helps, but he does not tilt the field. He has not shown up consistently. Dan Graziano, NFL Insider, what do you think of that?
Greeny, I'm not a particular fan of anonymous opinions. I don't think they have a whole lot of value. What I do like are numbers. And if you look at the numbers on Amari Cooper's contract, it's not a 5-year, $100 million deal. He gets $40 million fully guaranteed over the next 2 years, and then that's it. They take it from there. They might make decisions to keep him. They might not. $40 million over 2 years. If they had franchised him this year and next year, they would have had to pay him $39.5 million. So those numbers look pretty close to me. Seems to me like they gave him market value. Seems to me like, if anything, he might have done better if he'd taken himself out on the open market, potentially. And in terms of difference maker, he has been a difference maker for the Cowboys. Since they traded for him midway through the 2018 season, the Cowboys are the #1 offense, the third most efficient offense. Dak Prescott has thrown for the most yards of any quarterback since that time. So I don't understand those who would criticize the Amari Cooper contract. Yes, it seems like a lot of money, but this is where the market is for wide receivers. He was going to be a free agent. They got him for basically the same price they would have had to pay him if they had franchised him 2 years in a row.
Yeah, as is the case with quarterbacks. Sometimes timing is as important as production and when these deals get done for these players. Dan, thank you. Let me go to another Dan. I've got Orlovsky and Rex Ryan with me. Dan Orlovsky, what do you think about the notion that right now Amari Cooper is overpaid in Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, to Graziano's point, for an executive to say that, it's just incorrect. I mean, we have so much data and numbers to prove that he's been tremendously impactful for Dak Prescott in that offense. That being said, the Cowboys had no choice. He held the Cowboys hostage because if the Cowboys had let Amari Cooper walk, their season would have been basically done in March because they would have had no real viable weapon outside of Michael Gallup. I've been outspoken and on the record. I would not have paid Amari Cooper. I played with guys like Andre Johnson and Reggie Wayne and Calvin Johnson. Those guys would have never allowed for a 4th down on the last game of the season, the most important play of our season. They would have never allowed for them to be on the sidelines and not on the field. And I'm talking about that 4th down against the Eagles. So for that reason, I wouldn't have paid Amari Cooper. That he did not fight to get on the field for that play would have been too big a deal for me. And I don't know if that's an indication that Amari Cooper truly doesn't love football. I would agree with the executive that certain people get paid the top of the market and they have to check every single box. And he does for a lot of the physical, but does he love football and is obsessed with football? I struggle to believe that after that 4th down, and for that reason, I wouldn't have paid Amari.
Yeah, that did rub a lot of people the wrong way. What do you think, Rex Ryan?
Well, I agree with Dan on the fact that I wouldn't have paid this guy. To me, this is the biggest disappearing act in the National Football League. He doesn't show up on the road. He doesn't show up against, when the competition's good, when he's against the top corners, that guy disappears. And to me, he reminds me, it's only one time that I can remember in recent memory on elite receivers and disappearing acts like Amari Cooper. That was the kid that the Raiders had a few years ago. Oh, that's right. That was Amari Cooper. This is who he is. And Dan, he doesn't love football. Hell with it. He stops his routes. He does all this. I wouldn't have paid this turd. No way in hell.
All right.
No way in hell would I have paid this guy. To me, you pay Dak Prescott. Forget all those numbers. That, you know, they're #1 in the league because of Dak Prescott, not because of this guy. It's a deep draft at receiver. They made a huge mistake right here.
Here's what I like about that, whether I agree with it or I don't, and frankly I don't, but at least Rex Ryan is saying it, he's putting his face to it, and he's putting his name to it. In my opinion, there is no more sniveling coward in sports than the unnamed executive taking shots at decisions other teams make and at players other teams sign. You're not exposing dangerous or reckless behavior, which is what the whole point of unsourced material is supposed to be. I'm not criticizing the person who's reporting it. That's what you do. But you know what? If you're going to say something like that, Rex Ryan, put your name to it. This is a person who I guarantee you, this unnamed executive, walks around telling everyone how tough he is because he's in the world of football. But you know what? He's actually a chicken.
Right, and I agree with you. There's nothing worse than that, and to me, those are people you don't want in your organization. This guy being and you know what? I guarantee you, it's a legitimate thing. Somebody said it. Because it's true. It's accurate. It's an accurate statement. But for you not to put your name on it's a joke. Look, I know I'm a former head coach, all that kind of stuff. I have the guts to put it out there. That's no surprising. That's who I am. But I'm dealing with the fact I coached for 30 years, 20 years in the NFL. That's what I'm judging this on. Your great receivers show up in huge moments. You mentioned, Dan mentions how he's not on the field on a fourth down play. Are you kidding me? Well, that's because he breaks his routes off. He doesn't run, he's going to run when he wants to. He certainly has the ability to be a top-notch receiver, but he doesn't show the consistency. He doesn't show up against good players. It's a good thing he never played against a Darrelle Revis when I had him. That guy, he would have taken his lunch money.
All right, we're up against the clock. Dan, we'll get more from you as we continue on this, because there's one thing I want to put a smile on everybody's face with. Tom Brady, we all know that he's going down to Tampa, and he has found himself a new home. He has rented Derek Jeter's 30,000-foot waterfront mansion on Davis Island. It is a residence that features 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, an entertainment and billiards room, an elevator, a swimming pool, a fountain, a boat dock, and an 8-foot security gate. That is where Tom Brady is going to be living while he's down there in Tampa. Sounds good to me. As we continue, the questions about Tua.